Hello, everybody. It's simply Mrs. Moody here. Good day to you all. Happy to be back for another episode of um, Simply Mrs. Moody. Um, Listen, I'm just a steward of God, and I love to share these things for awareness and care and concern. Um, I haven't been doing this in my first few videos just because I wanted to be able to express and share without obligation. But I do want to ask that, and most people do it at the end, but I'm going to do it at the beginning. Um, if if anything, any of the videos that you watch from our segments that we do here on the page reaches your heart, or you think it touches someone or speaks to someone you know, please like, share, and subscribe. When you share and like and subscribe, it just allows us to reach more people with the information that seems so simple. That's why I call it Simply Mrs. Moody, because it seems so simple, but bears reminding, or, my sister preached a sermon once about gentle reminders. If you don't know, now you know. And when you know better, the aim is that God allows us to do better. Yeah. All right, so to today I want to talk about something called the ripple effect. Um, and it's really just talking about how, your emotional regulation or the lack thereof impacts the people around you, the people that you love. So today I want to talk about um, this because it's something that we often don't pay attention to. It's one of those things that kind of goes unnoticed, but people feel it very deeply. It's something that sticks with us. And in reflection, we think, what didn't I like about that? Why did this feel so uncomfortable? Why am I feeling this tightness in my chest or this frustration in my body because of something that happened? And it is connected to when people have that ripple effect of emotions onto us, or if we do it to others, etc. We don't see ourselves. And so, whether we realize it or not, what's happening inside of us doesn't actually stay on the inside of us. Our emotions create an atmosphere, it sets the tone. And that could be a good thing, but it isn't so good when it's not a good thing. Okay. And it moves through your house, through your relationships, it moves through the people who are closest to you that love you the most. And sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly. It really just depends. And oftentimes we have these places where the people I like to call bleed on, um, feel like, okay, I didn't do anything to deserve this. But yet we want them to extend the grace to us in forgiving. And this is why it's so important to be more aware of yourself and allow yourself to sit in the feelings that happen with you. Because a lot of times when you bleed or when you have this tendency to um, have a ripple effect in the people that you love, it isn't intentional, right? It's because you're trying to regulate and manage whatever it is that has upset you, stressed you out, frustrated you, made you sad, whatever it is, right? And so usually people don't say anything about it. Sometimes people do. And you can walk into a room sometimes and feel the tension, or you can sense peace without anyone explaining it. It's a good and a bad thing, right? That ripple effect, right? Um, but I want to talk about when it affects you in the negative way. And that's because emotions communicate long before language ever shows up. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything. It's your body language, it's your tone, it's your silence, it's your energy. And all of it speaks, all of it has an expression. So, we often tell ourselves, I'm fine. Or we say to our friends, I'm fine. I'm not putting this on anyone else. I'm dealing with it myself. But the truth is, stress is rarely contained. Pain doesn't stay neatly tucked away inside this little bubble that we think we're doing it. It tends to leak out into conversations, in ways that we react or respond to people, in the connections that we have, even if we're at work sometimes. And the biggest thing about it is being aware, seeing ourselves in that and realizing that, hey, I sound different, I feel different, I'm acting different. So listen, scripture tells us to guard our hearts because everything flows from it, right? And that includes how we show up emotionally with the people that we love, okay? And so when we look at this, I want us to focus on the mirror effect. Yeah, take that mirror, put it up in front of you, and realize that emotions are contagious. And this can go both ways, positive and negative, but emotions are contagious. Have you ever seen someone that maybe just came from a football game and they won and they go inside the pub or the bar and they're like, woo, and they're really excited? That energy just spreads. People just start smiling for no reason. They not even sports fans, but they looking at the excitement on the person and it just cheers them up. It's the same thing with the negative energy. You could have someone coming in that's really heavily depressed, and you're trying to figure out why at the end of being around that person, you want to go have a drink, you know? Um, because our emotions are contagious. Anxiety can spread through a household faster than words can. So can calm. So can peace. And I, for one, I don't know about you, at the age I am in my life, I protect my peace at all cost. At the front door, I'm checking it. Like, hey, look, I don't have the energy for that energy. But if you got that good energy, bring it on in, right? To be honest and truthful with yourself and with others. Listen, even your children, your partners or your husbands or your wives, um, don't just hear what we say, they watch how we regulate. They pay attention to how we regulate ourselves, how we choose to deal with whatever the pressures are, the stressors are, the anxieties are, the depression is, etc. And how we respond, not react, how we respond when we're overwhelmed. I, for one, have a way of jumping straight into anxiety when I'm overwhelmed. But because I have been practicing this, I'm fully aware and I make it aware. Like I tell my husband, even my sister, I'm like, hey, look, something's going on in my chest. It's feeling tight. My stomach is something, and I don't feel settled. And I'm feeling a little irritable. Um, can I just process for a minute? That literally just happened a couple of days ago with my husband. And even with my sister, she had to tell me, "Help, just wait, calm down, breathe." Sometimes I need the help, and I'm the professional, right? We all need it. Don't be afraid to be able to say, or don't be too prideful to be able to admit that something's going on. And hopefully you have that safe place in your partner, your sibling, your child, a parent, a friend, right? And even within yourself. It's really important how you manage the conflict that is going on exterior on the outside, but even more importantly, on the inside of you. And over time, those patterns get learned, right? We do it over and over and over. And some of us were taught to suppress those emotions, just hold them in, just, just push them down. At some point, we're going to explode like a volcano. But other people were taught to explode like volcanoes because this is what they saw coming up as a kid, a bunch of explosive um, emotions from mom, from dad, from wherever else, right? And some were taught to avoid it. Like, I'm just not even going to deal with it. Like, it doesn't even exist. Um, in my therapeutic world, we call it dissociating. And that is part of your fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. Those are your trauma responses. Go look that up. It's good information for you. You might see some of yourself in some or at any different point in your life, all points of the trauma responses. But it does help you find out where you are today and how do you manage the pressures, the stress, the anxiety, the frustration, the disappointment, the hurt, all these things, and how you're showing up with people that you care about, that care about you, that love you. And are you bleeding that onto them? What is your ripple doing? Is it a ripple of good encouragement, positivity, health, or is it toxic and it's, you know, bringing cycles of brokenness, just keeping it going? So listen, the beautiful thing is that you see the cycles of your brokenness. And even if you had a place in your life where you are at a place in your life where you don't realize it and that you can actually pass the same patterns down, this is a great opportunity for you to see it now. I hope that this message reaches your heart with care, compassion. This isn't criticism or judgment. This is education with care and compassion. Listen, when we don't regulate our emotions or have those tools or strategies, it costs us. It costs us trust with people we love. They don't trust you emotionally. They don't want to talk to you. It costs us major relationships that we didn't want to lose. And sometimes it costs us in a way that we are disappointed in ourselves. And then what do you do? Because those relationships are gone or you don't have the friendships, now we're guilting and shaming ourselves. There's so much that can come with not being able to learn how to regulate heavy and difficult emotions and bleeding on the people that you love. So we don't want to bottle these emotions up because they won't disappear. They won't go away. They turn into irritability, like I said, withdrawal, resentment, passive aggression, emotional distance. Have you ever had anybody tell you you're not emotionally available? Ask yourself why. Emotional safety is so important, and when it's missing, intimacy erodes. If this is in romantic relationships or, mother daughter, father son, siblings, whatever, that intimacy that you're supposed to have in a healthy way, it erodes, it goes away. I mean, it just, you know, like erosion every time a snow happens on the ground, it just gets more and more taken away until there's this big hole, this gap that you have to fill. And then you're stuck with, where do we start to rebuild? How do we grow? And I told you before, trust weakens. Connections feel really fragile. I want to, but I'm not sure I can trust it. I keep getting bled on, and I don't know how much more of this I can take, says a loved one that you have bled on. And that's why emotional regulation it's not weakness. Acknowledging your feelings and being able to say, I understand what's happening. Let me find a tool, a method, a strategy, a friend, support, or anything so that I can deal with this in a healthy way and I'm not hurting anyone else. Emotional regulation is a piece and a part of emotional intelligence. You can look that up. And when you have that, you really posture yourself to foster good leadership, good stewardship. It's love and action as God wanted it to be, right? He said our first thing to do is to love, right? And how do we do that? Well, we got to see what's going on with ourselves first before we can go do it to others. Show that love to others, especially if we're not loving on, forgiving, and finding peace within ourselves. So the Bible reminds us that we have to be slow to anger, quick to listen, and mindful of how we respond. Not that impulsion that you get to just blow up. And it's not because emotions are bad, but because unmanaged emotions can harm what we care about the most. I want to say that again. Unmanaged emotions can really harm what we care about the most. So, what do we do? What do we do? Do we continue the cyclical behaviors that, you know, make this what it is? Or do we decide to say with intention, um, I want to cultivate a lifestyle and a culture with my friends and my family and the people around me of calm. And that doesn't require you to be perfect. It doesn't require you to be emotionally silent and tuck it in. But like I said to you in the beginning, it requires you to be self aware. Pay attention to yourself, what you're saying, what you're doing, speaking with intention, acting with intention, thinking with intention to cultivate an environment and a culture around you of calm. So try pausing before you react. Think about it. Give it a name, what you're feeling, instead of letting it just run all over the place inside of you. And then try to create safe spaces where emotions are allowed, but not weaponized, not used as a weapon against you. Building those safe places. But you first got to build a safe place within yourself. And then set some boundaries that protects your peace while still staying present with people. And that requires you to speak up. Um, I think asserting ourselves is not being combative or difficult. I know people don't like boundaries. That's a trigger word for many people. But boundaries is the space in which I can support you and still support myself. It's not that I'm being mean or it's not an intent to be mean. It's self-preservation so I can continue holding space, showing love, and teaching healthy ways of being. And when we do that, something powerful happens. Very, very powerful. Listen, our healing becomes permission for others to heal. There's a saying that hurting people hurt people, but did you know that healing and healed people help others heal? There's always that positive and negative to a thing. And we have to decide which side do we want to be on. So our healing becomes permission for others to heal. Our regulation teaches resilience and forgiveness. And our growth creates safety for ourselves and for the people that are around us. And so the fruit of emotional regulation is peace, and peace always leaves a legacy. And isn't that what we always talk about? We want to leave a legacy. Whether you are in Christ or not, what legacy do you want to leave in the people, with the people that you love the most? Now, before I close, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to share this with you. I really hope that it reaches and touches your heart. And I pray that as seeds get planted for change and growth, that you allow yourself to receive all that God has for you in this space. All right, keep yourselves grounded. And until I see you next time, have a blessed one. Simply Mrs. Moody.